The stranger at the ranch. The Texas sun was sinking behind the red hills when Cole Mercer realized he had nowhere left to run. His horse was exhausted, his left shoulder was bleeding, and 3 riders were following him from a distance. Cole looked over his shoulder. The riders disappeared behind a ridge, but he knew they were still coming. Bounty hunters. For 2 days, they had followed his trail across the dry Texas plains. Cole pressed his hand against the wound beneath his coat. The pain was getting worse. He needed shelter. He needed water. Most of all, he needed somewhere the law wouldn't think to look. Then, through the fading sunlight, he saw a small ranch house sitting alone beyond a wooden fence. A weathered sign hung beside the gate. Hayes Ranch. Cole slowed his horse. He had heard the name before. Samuel Hayes. The murdered rancher. The man whose death had turned Cole Mercer into a wanted killer. Cole almost kept riding. But his horse suddenly stumbled. Cole grabbed the saddle horn and barely stayed upright. Easy, girl. He looked toward the farmhouse. There was no other choice. He rode through the gate. When he reached the porch, he climbed down and nearly fell. He knocked once. No answer. He knocked again. The door opened. A woman stood there with a shotgun pointed directly at his chest. She was young, perhaps 29, with dark brown hair tied behind her neck. Her face was beautiful, but there was something hard in her eyes. She had learned not to trust strangers. "Don't move," she said. Cole slowly raised his hands. Wasn't planning on it. Her eyes moved toward the blood running down his arm. Then she looked back at his face. "You're Cole Mercer." Cole's expression changed. "You know me. Everyone knows you." She tightened her grip on the shotgun. "You're wanted for murder." Cole gave a tired smile. "That's what they say. And they say you killed my husband." The smile disappeared. "Your husband?" The woman stared at him. "Samuel Hayes." Cole suddenly understood. He was standing in front of Samuel Hayes's widow. "Clara?" Her eyes narrowed. "How do you know my name?" "I've heard it." Cole slowly lowered his hands. "I didn't kill Samuel." Clara's finger rested near the trigger. "I know." Cole stared at her. "You believe me?" "No." She paused. "I know you didn't do it." Cole didn't understand. Before he could ask another question, Clara stepped aside. "Get inside." Cole entered. Clara locked the door behind him. She kept the shotgun close as she led him toward a chair. "Sit." Cole sat. She brought a bowl of water and began cleaning the wound. Cole watched her carefully. "You're not afraid of me?" "I should be. Most people are. Most people don't know what happened." Cole looked at her. "What happened?" Clara wrapped a clean cloth around his shoulder. "My husband wasn't killed by a robber." Cole's eyes narrowed. "What was he killed by?" "A man who wanted his land." "Boone." Clara stopped. She looked at him. "You know Elias Boone?" "Everyone knows Elias Boone." Boone was one of the richest men in the county. He owned thousands of acres, hundreds of cattle, and several businesses in Red Creek. More importantly, he owned people. Judges. Clerks. Deputies. Men with guns. Cole had heard stories about him while traveling through Texas. Clara sat across from him. "Samuel refused to sell this ranch." "Why?" "Because Boone wanted the entire valley." Cole looked toward the window. "And Samuel stood in his way." "Yes." "What happened?" Clara's eyes became distant. 2 years ago, Samuel was found dead near the south pasture. Cole remained silent. "The sheriff called it robbery." "And you didn't believe it?" No. Why? Because nothing was stolen. Cole looked at her. Then why did they blame me? Clara took a slow breath. Because someone said they saw you near the ranch that night. Frank Dillard. Her eyes widened. You know him? He lied. How do you know? Because I wasn't here. Where were you? 20 miles south. Working cattle for the Dawson Ranch. Can anyone prove it? Cole shook his head. No. Clara looked down. That's why they chose you. Cole frowned. What do you mean? You already had a reputation. He gave a bitter laugh. An outlaw reputation. Yes. So nobody cared whether I was guilty. Clara stood and walked toward the window. Exactly. Before Cole could answer, she suddenly stopped. 3 riders were approaching the ranch. Clara's face changed. Who are they? Boone's men. Cole stood. His hand moved toward his revolver. Clara shook her head. Don't. They're coming here. I know. The riders stopped near the fence. One man shouted toward the house. Mrs. Hayes. Clara walked to the porch. Cole followed. The rider looked at them. His eyes immediately recognized Cole. Well, well. He smiled. Looks like you've got company. Clara said nothing. The man continued. Mr. Boone wants an answer. I already gave him one. You've got until tomorrow. For what? To sell the ranch. Clara's voice remained calm. No. The rider laughed. You should reconsider. I have. The man's smile disappeared. Mrs. Hayes, Mr. Boone doesn't like being refused. Clara stepped closer to the porch railing. Then tell him I'm still refusing. The rider looked at Cole. Mercer, you picked the wrong house to hide in. Cole smiled slightly. Maybe. The man turned his horse. Then he stopped. One more thing. He looked at Clara. Boone says if you don't sell by tomorrow, he'll stop asking politely. The 3 men rode away. Cole watched them disappear. Then he looked at Clara. You've got a serious problem. She turned toward him. So do you. Cole nodded. Fair enough. They went back inside. For several minutes, neither spoke. Then Clara placed the shotgun on the table. You need somewhere to hide. Yes. I need someone Boone is afraid to challenge. Cole looked at her. You're thinking what I think you're thinking. I don't know. You're about to make a very bad decision. Clara looked directly into his eyes. Marry me. Cole blinked. What? Marry me. Cole stared at her. Then he laughed. Not because it was funny. Because it was completely insane. You've got to be joking. I am not. I'm a wanted outlaw. I know. Your husband was murdered. I know. And you want to marry me? For protection. Cole shook his head. That may be the strangest proposal I've ever heard. Clara didn't smile. If Boone believes I'm married to a dangerous man, he'll think twice before sending his men here. And what about the law? You're already wanted. Cole looked toward the window. The bounty hunters would eventually find him. Sheriff Reed would search every ranch in the county. But Clara had a point. If he stayed at the ranch as her husband, nobody would immediately suspect they had made a deal. Cole looked back at her. How long? What? How long are we supposed to pretend? Until Boone is gone. Cole considered it. Then he extended his hand. Deal. Clara looked at his hand. After a moment, she shook it. Neither of them knew that the agreement they had just made would change both their lives. The next morning, under the roof of a small country church, Cole Mercer married Clara Hayes. There were no flowers. No celebration. Only a preacher, 2 witnesses, and a promise neither of them truly meant. At least, not yet. By afternoon, all of Red Creek knew. The widow Hayes had married the most wanted outlaw in Texas. And somewhere across town, when Elias Boone heard the news, he didn't smile. He simply looked toward the Hayes ranch. Then he said, "Find out why." That evening, Cole stood on the ranch porch watching the sunset. Clara came outside. "You're quiet." "So are you." She looked at him. "This marriage changes things." Cole nodded. "Yes." Neither of them noticed the rider watching them from the distant hill. The man turned his horse and disappeared into the darkness. Inside the farmhouse, Cole began noticing small things. Clara locked one particular door every night. She kept an old key around her neck. And whenever Cole mentioned Samuel's name, she changed the subject. Something was hidden in that house. Something important. Later that night, Cole woke to the sound of footsteps. He quietly reached for his revolver. The footsteps moved toward the back door. Cole followed. He saw Clara carrying a lantern toward the barn. She looked around before opening the door. Then she disappeared inside. Cole waited several seconds. Then followed her. He entered the barn. Clara was standing beside an old wooden floorboard. She lifted it. A hidden staircase appeared beneath it. Cole stopped. Clara turned. Their eyes met. For the first time since their marriage, she looked genuinely afraid. Cole slowly stepped forward. "What exactly did I marry into?" Clara said nothing. She lifted the lantern. Then descended into the darkness. Cole followed. And beneath the old Hayes ranch, hidden from the entire town, waited a secret that had already gotten one man killed. And now Cole Mercer was about to discover why his own name was written inside it. The secret beneath the ranch. Cole followed Clara down the narrow wooden staircase. Each step creaked beneath his boots. The air became colder as they descended, and the smell of dust and old wood filled the darkness. At the bottom, Clara raised the lantern. Cole looked around. There was a hidden room beneath the barn. Old wooden shelves covered the walls. Boxes were stacked in every corner. There were rolled maps, land deeds, photographs, newspapers, and dozens of handwritten letters. Cole slowly turned toward Clara. "How long has this room been here?" "Since before Samuel and I bought the ranch." "Did he build it?" "No." "Then who did?" "I don't know." Cole looked at the walls. "You expect me to believe that?" Clara didn't answer. She walked toward a large wooden chest sitting against the far wall. An iron lock held it shut. Cole noticed the small key hanging around Clara's neck. "That key?" Clara touched it. "Samuel gave it to me before he died." "Why?" "He told me never to open the chest unless I was certain I could trust the person standing beside me." Cole looked at her. "And now?" Clara met his eyes. "I'm still deciding." Cole gave a quiet laugh. "You married me before deciding whether you trust me?" "I needed protection." "Right." Clara inserted the key. The lock clicked. She slowly lifted the lid. Inside were carefully wrapped documents. Cole picked up the first bundle. Land deeds. Dozens of them. Some belonged to families Cole recognized. Others belonged to ranchers who had disappeared from the area years earlier. Cole unfolded one. The owner's name had been crossed out. A new name had been written over it. Elias Boone. Cole's expression hardened. "He stole these." Clara nodded. "Samuel found out." Cole picked up another document. Same story. Another. Same name. Another. Boone. This is enough to ruin him. No. Clara shook her head. Not yet. Why not? Because these are copies. Cole looked at her. Copies of what? The originals. And where are the originals? I don't know. Cole placed the document down. What did Samuel know? Clara looked at the floor. More than he told me. Cole waited. Finally, Clara sat beside the chest. Samuel started investigating Boone about 6 months before his death. Why? Because families were losing their ranches. She picked up an old photograph. Samuel noticed something strange. The same handwriting appeared on several land transfers. Cole studied the photograph. Samuel was standing beside 3 other ranchers. One of them was Elias Boone. He confronted Boone. Clara continued. What happened? Boone threatened him. How? He told Samuel that men who asked too many questions sometimes disappeared. Cole's jaw tightened. Samuel still didn't stop. No. He should have left. He wasn't that kind of man. Cole looked at her. You loved him. Clara's eyes lowered. Yes. A long silence followed. Then Cole noticed a stack of letters tied with black string. What's that? Samuel's correspondence. Cole picked one up. The envelope had been opened. Inside was a letter from a rancher named William Carter. Cole read it carefully. Carter described how Boone had forced him to sign over his land. At the bottom of the page was a warning. If I refuse, Boone says my family will suffer. Cole looked at Clara. How many letters like this? 23. And you kept them hidden. I had nowhere else to put them. Cole continued searching. Then he stopped. One envelope had his name written across the front. Cole Mercer. He stared at it. Why is my name here? Clara stepped closer. I don't know. Cole opened the envelope. Inside was a single page. The handwriting belonged to Samuel. Cole began reading. If this letter ever reaches Cole Mercer, he needs to know that I never believed the story about him. Cole stopped. Clara watched his face. He continued. The man who claims Mercer killed me is lying. Cole's breathing became heavier. What does the rest say? Cole read on. There are men in Red Creek working for Boone. One of them is close to the sheriff. He looked at Clara. This is serious. She nodded. Cole continued reading. If I die, the evidence must be found before Boone destroys it. Then the letter ended. No location. No explanation. Nothing else. Cole folded it carefully. Why didn't Samuel send this to the sheriff? Because he didn't trust the sheriff. Cole looked at her. Who did he trust? Clara didn't answer. Cole realized something. You. Yes. And he never told you where the evidence was? He said he'd tell me when the time was right. What time? Clara looked toward the ceiling. The night before he died. Cole stood. What happened that night? Clara's voice became quiet. Samuel came home late. What time? Almost midnight. Was he frightened? Yes. What did he say? Clara swallowed. He told me that if anything happened to him, I should never trust anyone in Red Creek. Cole's eyes narrowed. What else? He said Boone knew. Knew what? That Samuel had proof. Cole looked at the documents scattered across the table. Then Boone killed him. Clara nodded. But that's not all. Cole waited. Samuel said one more thing. What? Clara looked directly at him. He said, "They'll blame Cole Mercer." Cole froze. Why would he say my name? I don't know. Cole paced across the room. There was something missing. A connection between him and Samuel. A reason Boone had chosen him. Then Cole remembered something from 2 years earlier. A job. A cattle transport. A stranger had paid him to deliver a herd south of Red Creek. The man had never given his real name. Cole had been near Samuel's ranch that night. But not close enough to see the murder. Cole suddenly remembered something else. A black horse. A rider wearing a silver spur. He had seen that rider near the Hayes property. Cole turned toward Clara. Did Boone have a silver spur? She looked confused. I don't know. Think. Clara closed her eyes. Boone always wore black boots. Silver spur. Yes. Cole's face hardened. I saw him that night. Clara stepped toward him. You were there. Not when Samuel was killed. Earlier. Cole explained that he had seen a man riding away from the ranch. He hadn't known who it was. But now he was almost certain. It had been Boone. Suddenly, a loud sound came from above. Both of them froze. Someone was walking inside the barn. Cole raised his revolver. Clara turned off the lantern. They waited. Footsteps moved across the wooden floor. Then silence. Cole climbed the stairs slowly. He pushed open the hidden door. The barn was empty. But the back door was open. Cole walked outside. There were fresh horse tracks in the dirt. Someone had been watching them. He returned to the hidden room. We've been discovered. Clara's face went pale. How? I don't know. She looked at the chest. Maybe someone saw us come down here. Cole shook his head. There's another problem. What? The writer knew exactly where to look. Clara looked at the old documents. Then they know about Samuel's evidence. Cole nodded. And they'll come back. The next morning, Cole rode into Red Creek alone. He wanted to see whether the sheriff could be trusted. Sheriff Thomas Reed was sitting behind his desk when Cole entered. His hand immediately went toward his revolver. Mercer. Cole raised both hands. I'm not here to fight. You're wanted. I know. You should be running. I've spent 2 years running. The sheriff stared at him. What do you want? The truth. About what? Samuel Hayes. The sheriff became silent. Cole watched his face. Who killed him? Reed didn't answer. Was it Boone? The sheriff stood. You need to leave. Why? Because you're digging into something that will get you killed. Cole stepped closer. You know something. Reed looked toward the door. Then whispered. Boone owns this town. Cole said nothing. Judges. Clerks. Deputies. Witnesses. Why didn't you stop him? The sheriff looked ashamed. Because I was afraid. Before Cole could ask another question, a gunshot exploded outside. The sheriff grabbed Cole and pulled him behind the desk. A bullet smashed through the window. Another struck the wall. Reed drew his revolver. Get out the back. Cole ran. By the time he reached the alley, the shooter was gone. Cole returned to the ranch before sunset. Clara was waiting on the porch. You were gone all day. I needed answers. Did you find them? Cole looked at her. Some. Then he saw something strange. The front door was unlocked. Cole's hand moved toward his revolver. Did you leave this open? Clara shook her head. They entered the house. Furniture had been moved. Drawers were open. Someone had searched the place. Cole ran toward the barn. The hidden room had been opened. The chest was still there. But one envelope was missing. The one bearing Cole's name. Clara stared at the empty space. Who took it? Cole slowly turned toward the door. Then he saw muddy boot prints leading outside. Beside them was a small piece of black cloth. Cole picked it up. A silver thread ran through it. Clara recognized it immediately. Boone. Cole looked toward the darkening horizon. Then they heard a horse approaching. A lone rider stopped at the gate. It was Eli, Clara's ranch hand. He jumped down from his horse. His face was pale. Mrs. Hayes. Clara stepped toward him. What happened? Eli looked at Cole. Then whispered. They know. Cole's hand went to his revolver. Who? Eli swallowed. Boone. He looked toward the hills. He's coming tonight. Then, somewhere in the distance, thunder rolled across the Texas sky. But Cole knew it wasn't thunder. It was the sound of approaching horses. And this time, there were dozens of them. The sound of approaching horses grew louder. Cole stood on the porch with his revolver in his hand, watching the dark horizon. One rider became 3. 3 became 10. Then more shadows appeared behind them. Clara stepped outside. How many? Too many. Eli moved toward the barn. We should leave. Cole shook his head. If we run now, they'll follow us. Then what do we do? Clara asked. Cole looked toward the house. We find out what Boone wants. Before anyone could say another word, a voice echoed across the ranch. Mrs. Hayes. Elias Boone rode through the gate with nearly a dozen armed men behind him. He wore a black coat and silver spurs. Cole recognized them immediately. The same silver spurs he'd seen 2 years earlier near Samuel's ranch. Boone stopped his horse several yards from the porch. His eyes moved from Clara to Cole. Well, Mercer. Cole raised his revolver. Boone. Boone smiled. I was beginning to wonder how long it would take you to come back. Cole's jaw tightened. You killed Samuel. Boone laughed softly. You've always been an imaginative man. Clara stepped forward. You murdered my husband. Boone looked at her. Your husband made a mistake. What mistake? He believed the law would protect him. Clara's hands tightened. You threatened him. I warned him. You killed him. Boone's smile disappeared. Careful, Mrs. Hayes. Cole stepped between them. Say what you came for. Boone looked at him. You took something that belongs to me. I haven't taken anything. Boone reached into his coat and pulled out an envelope. Cole recognized it immediately. Samuel's letter. The one that had disappeared from the hidden room. Boone held it up. Looking for this? Cole's expression hardened. You stole it. No. Boone smiled. One of your friends did. Cole looked toward Eli. Eli immediately shook his head. I didn't. Boone laughed. Everyone has a price, Mercer. Cole kept his gun raised. What do you want? The rest of the evidence. Clara stepped forward. There is no more. Boone looked at her. Samuel was many things. He paused. But he wasn't stupid. Cole watched Boone carefully. You know there's more. Boone's eyes narrowed. Where is it? Clara didn't answer. Boone motioned toward his men. 2 riders dismounted. Cole immediately raised his weapon. Take another step and you'll regret it. Boone held up a hand. His men stopped. You're protecting her now. Cole glanced at Clara. She protected me first. Boone smiled. You really married her? Cole said nothing. Boone laughed. That's unfortunate. Clara looked at Cole. What does he mean? Boone answered before Cole could. Because Samuel's evidence doesn't just destroy me. He paused. It destroys people you trust. Cole's expression changed. Who? Boone smiled. You'll find out. Then he turned his horse. I'm giving you until sunrise. Clara stepped forward. And if we refuse? Boone looked over his shoulder. Then this ranch burns. He rode away with his men. Cole watched them disappear. Eli finally spoke. We need to leave. Cole shook his head. No. Cole. No. He looked toward the ranch. Boone knows about the evidence. If we run, he'll hunt us until we're dead. Clara looked at him. Then what are we going to do? Cole looked at Samuel's remaining papers. We find the original evidence first. Clara hesitated. There is something I haven't told you. Cole turned. What? She walked into the house. After a moment, Cole followed. Clara opened a small drawer beneath Samuel's old desk. Inside was a folded piece of paper. She handed it to Cole. It was hidden behind a loose board. Cole unfolded it. There were only 6 words. The old church bell knows everything. Cole read it twice. The church. Clara nodded. Samuel used to go there. When? Before his death. Cole looked at the paper. Why didn't you show me this before? I was afraid. Of me? Of what it meant. Cole understood. If Samuel had hidden the final evidence somewhere, Boone would eventually find it. And now they had a chance to reach it first. They left the ranch just before midnight. Cole and Clara rode through the darkness toward the abandoned church outside Red Creek. Eli stayed behind to watch the ranch. The church stood on a hill surrounded by dead grass and an old cemetery. Its wooden walls were almost falling apart. Cole dismounted. Stay here. Clara shook her head. No. Clara. My husband died because he fought alone. She looked at him. I won't make the same mistake. Cole nodded. They entered the church. Moonlight came through the broken windows. Cole looked around. Where would Samuel hide something? Clara pointed upward. The bell tower. They climbed the narrow stairs. The old bell hung above them. Cole examined the wooden beams. Nothing. Clara searched the floor. Still nothing. Then she noticed a loose metal plate beneath the bell. Cole. He moved toward her. Together, they pulled it free. Behind it was a small metal container. Cole opened it. Inside was a folded document. Clara's hands trembled. That's it. Cole opened the document. It was Samuel's final statement. His signature was at the bottom. It named Elias Boone. It described the illegal land transfers. It listed the men Boone had bribed. And it explained exactly what happened the night Samuel died. Cole read the final paragraph. His face became still. Clara looked at him. What does it say? Cole handed her the paper. She read it. Tears filled her eyes. Samuel had written. Cole Mercer did not kill me. I saw Elias Boone and his men leaving my property that night. If I die, Boone is responsible. Clara covered her mouth. For 2 years, she had believed her husband died without leaving enough proof. Now she finally had it. Cole folded the document carefully. This clears me. And destroys Boone. A sound came from below. Footsteps. Cole immediately drew his revolver. Someone was inside the church. "Stay behind me." They descended the stairs. A figure stood near the entrance. Cole aimed his revolver. "Don't move." The man slowly raised his hands. It was Sheriff Thomas Reed. Clara stared at him. "Sheriff?" Reed looked exhausted. "I've been looking for you." Cole didn't lower his weapon. "Why?" "Because Boone knows you found the evidence." Cole narrowed his eyes. "How?" Reed looked toward the church doors. "Because someone told him." "Who?" The sheriff hesitated. Then came a loud crash outside. The church doors burst open. Boone's men stormed inside. "Down!" Cole pulled Clara behind a wooden bench. Gunshots exploded through the church. The old windows shattered. Reed fired back. Cole returned fire. The attackers scattered. "There's too many," Reed shouted. Cole looked toward the rear door. "We need another way out." Clara suddenly remembered something. "There is a tunnel." Cole looked at her. "A tunnel?" "Samuel showed it to me once." She ran toward the altar. Behind it was a narrow wooden door. They opened it. A dark passage disappeared beneath the church. "Go!" Cole shouted. They entered the tunnel. Sheriff Reed followed. Bullets struck the wooden door behind them. The three ran through the darkness until they emerged several hundred yards away. Cole looked back toward the church. The evidence was still in his hand. But Boone was still coming. Sheriff Reed finally spoke. "There's something you need to know." Cole turned. "What?" "Boone has men inside the sheriff's office." Cole stared at him. "How many?" "3. "Who?" Reed named them. Cole recognized every name. They were the same deputies who had testified against him 2 years earlier. Clara looked at Cole. "So we can't trust anyone?" Reed shook his head. "Not anymore." A distant gunshot echoed across the plains. Then another. They looked toward the ranch. A column of smoke was rising into the night. Clara's face went pale. The ranch. They mounted their horses and raced back. When they reached the hill, flames were already rising from the barn. Eli was nowhere to be seen. Cole stopped his horse. Clara covered her mouth. Boone had set the ranch on fire. Cole looked down at the evidence. Then toward the burning house. He knew exactly what Boone wanted. The document in his hand could destroy the most powerful man in the county. And Boone would kill anyone who stood between him and it. Clara looked at Cole. "What do we do now?" Cole stared toward the darkness where Boone had disappeared. For 2 years, he had run from a murder he didn't commit. Now he finally had proof of his innocence. But Boone had declared war. Cole loaded his revolver. "We finish this." Clara looked at him. "Tonight?" Cole nodded. "Tonight." Far across the plains, a distant rider stopped on a ridge. Elias Boone looked back toward the burning Hayes ranch. He knew Cole had escaped. And he knew the evidence was still out there. Boone turned his horse toward Red Creek. He had one final card left to play. The sheriff. And by sunrise, Cole Mercer would discover that the greatest danger wasn't outside the law. It was hidden inside it.